Stephen Kostanski returns with an absurd homage to 1980s little creature horror that is, at times cringy, but always hilariously entertaining. Conor Sweeney stars as Conor, a boring yuppie type who is focused way too much on his work and not enough on his gorgeous girlfriend or life outside of the office. He's called bland by his boss, and the only physicality he has with Christina is the act of holding hands. Christina has issues hiding her frustrations one evening when Conor refuses to have sex with her, and she advises him that he needs to stop being so square. Conor catches an ad on late night television asking, "Are you ready for the party of a lifetime?" And while Christina is away for the weekend, Conor finds his world is soon turned upside down when Frankie Freako and his two mates slide into his life and take over. Having worked on a number of cult sci-fi horror hits like The Void, and even more recently Psycho Gorman, Kostanski successfully delivers yet another nostalgia-fueled horror comedy that uses his love for practical effects and puppetry. This one is a bit more party than previous projects and is essentially a love letter to legendary producer and director Charles Band, the founder of the infamous Empire Pictures and the even more infamous Full Moon Productions. There's even a character in the film called Mr. Beekler, a lovely tribute to iconic special makeup effects artist John Carl Beekler, who worked closely with Band's companies. His most famous work was probably on Reanimator, directed by the late Stuart Gordon, and the Ghoulies franchise, the third movie he actually directed himself, two of Charles Band's most notorious films. And it's difficult to look at any other movie other than Ghoulies as the main influence here. Sadly, John Carl Beekler passed away in 2019, but his incredible work will live on forever, and with the help of filmmakers like Stephen Kostanski, his legacy and that of other 80s and 90s make-up magicians can be passed on to new generations. Kostanski has been quoted as saying, "Frankie Freako is meant to be a complete antithesis of the current trend of overly self-serious A24 style horror films, with a tone more akin to early Tim Burton films like Beetlejuice and Pee-wee's Big Adventure. While I don't think this is anywhere close to being as cinematic as those two Burton films, it's definitely in the same ballpark in terms of zaniness. I thought there were even little nods to Who Framed Roger Rabbit when the group entered Freak World, or at least what's left of it. I really enjoyed Conor Sweeney's performance here. His comedy timing is on point and he allows himself to overact at times, which is an integral part of the performance, yet for the most part he is playing it straight, and his interactions with the stars of the show Frankie, Boink and Dottie are just straight up slapstick silliness. An homage to Gremlins 2 and a bunch of throwbacks to Home Alone trigger a fun and thrilling second act that is actually surprisingly charming. The film goes from strength to strength when the lore and backstory of the Freakos are explored, and when the film is loaded with some intriguingly designed villains. Subtlety isn't Kostanski's strong point, something that works heavily in his favour here, and his passion for this niche but much loved subgenre cannot be denied.